Single family home prices in Calgary have reached $696,000, $63,000 increase from last year. What is going on? Let's check it out. Hi, my name's Fyfe, your Calgary Realtor. This market is insane. If you're looking at stepping into the market, I would strongly recommend booking a Zoom call. The link is in my description. I'll be able to explain this in a lot more detail and provide you with a strategy that will find you success. Let's get into it. Real quick, if you're curious of what $696,000 gets you, these are the benchmark attributes. Pause the video, give it a read. Let's keep going. So here's what the Calgary Real Estate Board has written about single-family homes in Calgary. Record low inventory levels this month were primarily driven by pullbacks for homes under $700,000. While new listings did improve compared to last year, most of the growth was driven by homes priced over $700,000. So the more expensive homes are getting more expensive, and the most activity is in the homes priced under $700,000. Kind of interesting. August sales did improve over last year's levels. However, limited supply in the lower price ranges has likely prevented stronger detached home sales. So there's just not enough supply out there. Persistent tight conditions drove further price gains this month, which a benchmark price reached $696,000, nearly 1% higher than last month and over 10% or $63,000 compared to last year. The highest year-over-year price gains occurred in the most affordable regions of Northeast and East District. Let's continue on. So this is the total city breakdown for detached homes in Calgary. You can see that the price point has yet again increased, getting closer to $700,000. You can see that the inventory has somewhat leveled off, which is great to see because the sales actually decreased as well. So if you look at April, May, June, you can see that July, August, the sales actually dipped, where the inventory, thank God, did not increase too much. So the listings have slowed down a little bit and the sales have slowed down a little bit, causing the inventory to somewhat level off. So I would argue that in September, there should be a little bit of an influx of new listings coming onto the market because that's usually when investors kind of offload product. But given that the rental market is so hot right now, I don't know if we're going to see a lot of new listings come onto the market because the rental increase in the city has been so great. It doesn't really make sense for investors to sell right now. So when we look at the year-to-date sales, you can see that the sales have greatly decreased, which we've talked about all year long. You can see that last 2 years, the sales were a crazy influx as more people were coming to the city. There's just not enough new listings coming to the market to offset the sales numbers. If there were more listings, I would argue that the sales would increase. You can see that this one here, the new listings have dramatically decreased to 12,000 units year to date to August. You can see that they're well below the 10-year average, which is pretty crazy to witness. Now, when you look at the inventory levels here, so this is the months of supply and the trends. So this is a newer chart that I've not really touched on a whole lot. You can see that the trend is trending down greatly and the months of supply is relatively staying flat compared to the last 2 years. So we are noticing a huge slowdown in new listings. We are noticing a very tight inventory conditions and the sales have decreased. So Calgary real estate, in my opinion, is not going to get balanced out anytime soon. This chart here is months of supply, and we're going to touch on the detached section here. Now, this detached section, you can see that everything is around 1 month of supply. You can see the city center and Calgary West is upwards of 2. Now, the areas where there's only 1 month of supply, there's most likely going to be price gains there. 2 months of supply, there most likely will be some price increasing in those quadrants, but not as much as you would see in Southeast. So this is a very quick snapshot of how active those current markets are. Okay, so this is where it's going to get very intense. When you are looking at the benchmark price of a quadrant, all benchmark attributes are different. They are not the same. So if you're looking at West as an example, you are going to see different attributes when you're looking at something in the East. So when you look at this chart here, you can see that the benchmark price for each quadrant is different. But then when you look back at this attributes, they are different as well. So when you are creating your plan, you are creating your strategy, you really need to make sure that you're putting these into practice, right? Just because you get pre-approved for $800,000, you might not get the same product in every single quadrant. Well, I mean, you might not, you will not. So it's very, very important to break these things down. So make sure that when you are looking at your plan, you are putting real data in there and actually using it to your advantage. Now, This is the price, the year-over-year price growth comparison. I find this very interesting. You can see that the East and the Northeast have seen the biggest percentage increases, whereas places like Calgary South and the Southeast haven't really seen as much of an increase as those other places. So this is where it gets cool. This is my portal. It is an AI-generated price determination for your property here in Calgary. If you're an investor, if you're a homeowner, or anything along those lines, and you're looking at figuring out what your value is, you can put it in here. I am not expecting you to sell your house right now, but as a realtor, it is very important for me to advise people and help them gain a better understanding of what's going on in the market. And this platform here has helped me do that. So if you're curious, go ahead, put in your address. It is only me who's looking at it. Yes, I will call you. I'll introduce myself. We'll have a small conversation. Not expecting you to sell. Do want to make that very clear. So here's the bread and butter of the whole thing. This is the microeconomic breakdown for detached homes here in Calgary. You can see each individual quadrant, the sales to new listing ratio, the inventory, the months of supply, the benchmark price, the year-over-year price growth, the month-over-month price growth, and then boom, the actual increase itself. You can see that Calgary West saw a $21,000 increase in 1 month, whereas the city center saw a $14,000 increase in 1 month. These are wild numbers to experience. So when you start to put the benchmark attributes, which I'll line here for West and city center, these homes with these specific attributes have seen that $21,000 increase or that $14,000 increase. Pause the video, look at the benchmark attributes, and figure out where your home could be positioned there. Now, this is just an overview of what's going on in the city. You can see that we are on a very clear up and up since 2022. Where are we going to peak? The the interest rates did not increase in Calgary, thank God. That helps out a lot of buyers. But that also says to buyers that their lending is not going to increase, their interest rates are not going to increase, which is going to cause a little bit more of a frenzy. Now people are a little bit more comfortable to actually go out and buy things. Hopefully the interest rates have slowed down and stopped for Canada's sake, our economic sake. But if they do pause, I would argue that Calgary pricing is going to continue to increase. The only way that they can really slow down a dramatic increase is by increasing the interest rates, making lending a little bit harder for people to achieve. But now that we might have seen the plateau of those increases for now, I would say that Calgary is going to see some more increasing in price moving forward. So if you're interested in knowing your home value, put it in the address or put it in the portal. If you're interested in figuring out how this market's going to play to your advantage, go ahead and book a Zoom call. There's a lot of information here. I try my best to speak quickly and get through this information fast because we live in a very fast-paced environment. So I don't want to go on. If you want me to dive into this in more detail and you want me to explain these things in more detail, book a call. Let's take an hour together. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you very much. I hope you got a lot of value from this video. I'm very excited on how they're unfolding. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.